Yay, we are live. Okay, I don't expect any watchers, so this is just for the vote. Anyway, I had an asynchronous discussion with my brother regarding what does it mean rendering with 10,000 or 16,000 frames per second. And I have a very clear take on that. Because yesterday we found out that in release fast mode, we go even higher than 10,000 frames per second. We actually reach 16,000, which is quite awesome. But what does it mean? I mean, really, no display can work with 16K FPS. Well, I understand that. It simply means the frames per second is just one by the render time. So it means we have a small render time of like 62 microseconds. For what? Well, for displaying. Well, let's start it. No, here. For displaying that, it doesn't have a lot of render objects, as we can see. I think it's just 7. Yeah, so this slide only has 7 render objects. Or render elements, as I call them. And okay, I can render that in 62 microseconds. It's actually, I wasn't even trying. I was trying not to be slow, but I wasn't trying to optimize anything. Yeah. So the way I see it is, well, we are fast. So that means we can do much more with our little slideshow program without having to worry that we will fall below 60 frames per second. And if you divide the 16,000 frames per second that we achieved recently, if we disable VSync, then, well, hang on, now I lost my train of thought. Yeah, okay, if we divide the 16,000 by the 60, we must not fall below. It means that we can render a 266 times more complex thing without falling below 60 frames per second. And basically, that's it. It just means we can do an awful lot more stuff and not need to worry falling below 60 frames per second. I'm super tired today, but I thought that maybe we can demo that. Maybe we can animate the slides a little more. So one way to do that would be to add something to our parser so that it oh god, the first message in chat is a bot. Yes, I want to become famous, dear bot, but I don't want to buy followers. I don't want to buy primes and viewers. So go F yourself. I want to show that, well, I want to do some little animation with our slides. So I was just going into that. We could add some like fly in parameter to our slide elements. So we could say text flies in from the top with this velocity, or from the right or left or whatever, or silly things like that. That's worth a thought. But I'm not going to do that. I want to try just distorting the renderer for every render element in a kind of random fashion or in a sine curve fashion. I don't know yet. So that everything wiggles. So let's try that, because in theory we shouldn't. Well, this is a release build. When I make it again from within the editor, it will be a debug build and fall down to, I don't know, 10 to 12,000 FPS. But we should see a similar like 4-digit No, 4 zeros, 5-digit, a 5-digit FPS number here. Well, I don't want to lie, and I'm tired, so let's build it again and see what's our base for today. Our base FPS rate in debug mode. Seems like I had cleared out the SIG cache, so it took a moment. But if we look now, oh yeah, vsync disabled. Yeah, so we have 10,000 frames per second, sometimes 9, sometimes 10, sometimes 11, sometimes maybe even 12, as we saw previously. So when we start wiggling the render elements, nothing dramatical should happen to this. There might be a difference in if once we start fiddling with font sizes, because that will have an impact, getting the pixels out of the font atlas and stuff, different regions of memory. I don't know, maybe more pixels to render. So this could impact it. I'm no expert in like OpenGL, so I don't really know what's going to happen once we play dramatically with the font sizes. But I'm pretty certain that even if we, make everything super big and then super small, frame by frame, given our render time is like 100 microseconds, not really, we should be fine. We should be fine in terms of not falling below 60 frames per second. So my idea was to wiggle everything like globally. And the cool thing is we have some functions like slide pause to render pause, position render pause. Yeah, there it is, slide position to render. And here would be a perfect time to slightly change the x and y coordinates from time to time. So let's try doing that. What would we need here? Would we need an x and y component? Why not? Oh, a dx. Oh wow, the language server fixed my spelling of floats. I press 0, no, 0. Oh no, it wasn't the language server, it was, yeah, okay. Let's keep it consistent. Oh yeah, and then we will have some animation. And what will the animation code do? Well, it needs a frame count. We'll make the frame count, shall we? Shall we just make it a float so we don't need to cast all the time? Yes. This is super silly. And then we make a public function. Oh, actually, we need instances of those. So Let's move them down. And what else? Oh, yeah. Render. Yeah, very nice. Hang on. Yeah, okay. So we will call this function every frame. Yeah. So update distortion, render distortion animation. So that will, yeah, okay. If anyone criticizes that I'm mixing the two now and it's not clean code, fine, it's just a hack. So what do we need to do here? We say render distortion animation, frame count plus equals 1, and then we say render distortion x equals render distortion y equals, actually y is sinus and cosinus for x. That should be fun. And now in slide pause to render pause, we will add an if statement. Well, actually two. Our animation should also have a running flag. If I delete that, it will be, why can I not join this? I can. So what did I do wrong here? Oh, yeah, I need a return type. Void. Okay. Where is the undeclared identifier from count? Is my LSP silly or am I silly? Render distortion animation. Frame count. Oh, yeah. Good point, LSP. Super long, very descriptive variable names. I am so proud of myself. Okay, great. So now let's go down to slide pause to render pause. If what's it called? Render distortion animation dot running and y greater than 0. Why am I doing that? Because I don't want to wiggle the background image. So I say everything that has a y coordinate equal to 0 oh no pause dot y. Yeah, I think we won't do it for them. So that should only apply to the background image. Hang on, wait a bit. I really thought this through. So let's make this a variable. So we can use it here. My top left equals dot x plus equals and the animation when now the animation updates the distortion and we need the distortion here. Substitute x by y globally Ta-da! And now we need a mechanism in. Actually, we could. What do we have here? Okay. Yeah. I love harpoon. We need a mechanism in main to update and activate the thing. Again, do I have a bot in here? Can I ban them? I don't want to talk to you. Anyway, let's not get distracted by bots. They're everywhere. Well, at least it is nice that somebody is paying attention. When do we want to do that? We'll just make a menu item. Why not? Show menu. Maybe we should create a tools menu or something like that. What do we have here? So we have file, view. Yeah, let's add it to the view. I'll probably want different kind of animations in the future. So like different kinds of distortion animations and maybe a way to choose from them. Can I null this? Not sure. Oh, we will just toggle it. Oh, I just realized. If we do that, it'll do it on every frame, which might be a bit too fast. So yeah. Anyway, one step after the other. Let's get this thing running. So we have the renderer, I think, or render. Update render distortion. Oh, we don't have access to it. Hang on, I thought I have the slide renderer. Oh, okay. Yeah. I only have 4 harpoon fingers. Yes. Yes. I don't really want the start animation and stop distortion or something. Not now. We don't want to update that. Change invert. Start running equals not the same. Start running. Maybe that's everything. No, we need to update. We could actually just for now update here. No. Render dot. This is just super hack. Oh, no member named X because it's dx and dy. So let's distort the renderer. That's not funny. That was a very, very small distortion. Oh. Oh, it's only when only in the, because I do it in the menu. That's so stupid of me. Let's do it in update. It doesn't matter where we do it. Oh, let's play nice. Let it do everything. And after we have finished, yeah, let's do it after the laser pointer. So the interesting thing to see would be if the frame rate changes. So let's disable VSync, and you see, no, it doesn't. So that means we can, even when we animate, now this is obviously it is not V-synced, so it looks not so good, but that's not the point. So this is how it would look. It's approaching the 60 frames per second now. We should maybe scale it. But I quite like that. So it's a silly effect, and it shows that even if we draw something completely different in every frame, so we can move stuff. Let's make it horrible. Let's do this. Times. That's such a long name. Let's blow it up. There is probably a better way to do that, but my geometry math just isn't good enough. Yeah. That should even be visible on the big screen. Yes. And so what we just proved is that we can wiggle it just a little bit and also a little bit more. And we don't need extra time for that. I think I've gone over this point for many, many times now. I still think I didn't bring it across properly. But the point is, with this grade of complexity in a slide, meaning this number of render elements with the same number of pixels, we can draw something completely different at every frame. If we sync it by the monitor, we get a smooth animation. I mean, a very nervous but smooth animation. And if we can still show that we can do 10,000, well, 9 to 10,000 frames a second. It's not just rendering a static image, it's rendering a frame every time, and it takes like 100 microseconds to do that in debug mode. So yeah, we can play around. Let's walk through the presentation like this. That would be funny. Oh, no. We need to resync it. That's a very nice presentation there. Look what the bullets are doing. That's a nice effect. I'm really liking this. I should maybe put in a slider to control the speed and the amplitude. Oh yeah, that's a good effect for thank you for your attention. I like it like that. Now, I also want to play with the font sizes and see what that does to the frame rate. And I think that's a bit more deep down in the render code. But in fact, it only applies to this here. So, where do we push the size? Oh, hang on. Hang on. Am I actually doing text wrapping on rendering? That's the job of the pre-renderer. Why would it need a wrap pose? Ah, okay. Yeah, for consistency only. It only calculates it and tells InGUI where to wrap in terms of pixels to keep it consistent. So part of the wrapping is done by InGUI and the other part is doing by ourselves. And I think this is a source of problems, but for now it's good enough. So where is the size or font size? Font size, here we go. What are we doing here? Is that for the underlines? Oh no, that's just for the colored box. Okay, that's fine. But if we actually render text, then here we have the font size. And we will make that a variable. And say if render blah blah running f size. What do we want to do? Do we want to apply a delta? Or do we want to scale it? Let's scale it for dramatic effects. Times equals 1 plus render dot no, this y. So it'll get twice as big. It's a dy. What is wrong? Oh. Float to int. Was it I32? Yeah, the font sizes in integers probably was a stupid mistake. But it makes it easier. Yeah, let's not get into the font bakery stuff, but I bake fonts when starting or loading a slideshow. I bake fonts in various sizes because the font sizing of InGUI is not really good. So if you say you put a font in your font atlas of size 16, and then InGUI lets you scale it up to 150, no problem. But there is a problem. The font looks shitty and pixelated. So what I do in the font bakery is actually put the same font with different sizes in the font atlas and do that for each font. and then have a map that so when you have like size 16 and size 160 in the font atlas, we have that in a map, in a hash map. And when you request 150, then it says, okay, the delta between 150 and 16 is higher than the delta of between 160 and 150. So it says, okay, I'm going to use the 150 version and adjust the scale so that it scales down the 160 to 150 when you request font size 150. So yeah. Anyway, that's why it's good to have the font sizes as integers, but actually it's not necessary. We could cast them to integer every time we look up in the hash map. It's only done at pre-rendering, and that would give us really well scaled font sizes. Something to improve in the future. What did I want to do here? Oh, I wanted to finish the cast. And this is going to look horrible. So viewer's discretion is advised, or I don't know how the sentence goes. That didn't go well. Oh, no, we don't want 1 plus. We want f size times 1 plus. And we don't want to divide by 0. So no, there is no division. What am I talking about? Yeah, I don't know what happened. ImGUI doesn't like it. You see, this is silly. So I have to convert it to float so I can calculate it, and then I have to convert it back. And what did I do now? So float to int, yes, int to float the f size times blah blah. What's the problem? I think there is no problem. Oh, yeah, I need to give that the f32. I really don't like crashes. Yeah, it was not a good idea. It could really be that that the hash map stuff, the font bakery, does not like that. So we want a tiny little distortion. Oh, yeah, but our scale, yes, that's right. So if we multiply it, we have to divide it by the scale so we get the sine value out of it. And I think then we will get away with it. Yeah. Otherwise, we will just request insanely big fonts, and it's not something we can handle. Well, that's what she said. Why did it get so large? Oh, we still multiply. Yeah, so let's wiggle the size a bit. Maybe that's easier if one is tired. What did I mess up now? Yeah, one too many of those. If that doesn't work immediately, I'll just give up for now and focus on something more funny. Right now you can barely see the resizes. Hang on, are we? Yeah, we are resyncing. Let's scale it up. See, that's what I meant with different distortion animations. Yeah, now we get wrapping. This is horrible. I don't like it. The weekly stuff was fun enough. Oh no, we want to see. Well, with the wrapping, maybe the FPS will change now. Okay, it looks shitty, but at least. Yeah, you see, we still have the 10,000 FPS, even though we are clearly painting more pixels when we increase the font size and wrapping, which causes wrapping of the shadow. If we 1.5 it instead of doubling, maybe for this particular slide, it'll be, well, I'm not sure if it's noticeable with all the wiggling going on. If the text thing is noticeable. No, we're still wrapping. You can see it a little bit here. So I don't want to obsess over that, but I would say let's undo that. That's that. It wasn't a smart way to do it to begin with. Yes, I like it. Okay. Basically, that was all I wanted to show. So hang on. How long have we been streaming for today? Not very long. Let's ask Twitch. Twitch says not even 40 minutes. Well, we don't have any viewers anyway. And maybe a 40-minute video is nicer to watch than like a 5-hour video. I'm just enjoying this. And I'll sign off at 40. No, well, that's still, yeah, it's one more minute to go. Let's end the stream with a wiggly slide. Maybe time to stress once more that the 16,000 FPS just means, look, we can do stuff like that, and we still have an awful lot of time left. In this particular case, the number of render objects is exactly the same. They are just placed in different locations, so there was no change in frame render time. So it still stands that we could do far more complex stuff. To be exact, we could do 266.66666 times more complex stuff in one slide and would still not fall below 60 frames per second. That's how I interpret the statement we can render in 16,000 frames per second. yeah, because it only applies to this slide in this resolution, and I think you get the point. I'll check that in. It's not useful, but well, it was work, so let's check it in. All right. I have exceeded 40 minutes, so see you next